Yo, what's up YouTube? Thank you guys for tuning in to another video here on the channel. Today, I want to talk about that new Superman movie. Now, just a quick backstory. I never really cared about Superman as a character. Growing up, I read a lot of comic books, but they were mostly Batman and Spider-Man. I always thought Superman just as a character was honestly boring. I don't like the idea of there being somebody like all powerful, indestructible, undefeatable, just super powerful. Like I don't know. I just never really liked him. And so even growing up, like all the Superman movies came out, I never really watched them. The first Superman movie I ever really watched was the Superman previously with Henry Cavill and all of those Justice League movies, which I did like Henry Cavill in those movies, but I never really cared for those movies. So I just wanted to say, like, coming up to this movie, like, I didn't really care about the movie. I did have high hopes because I am a James Gunn fan. I do like what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxy and all of that. So it was really weird. I never really cared for Superman. So coming into this movie, I didn't really know where to place my expectations. So, by the way, I just want to give a quick spoiler alert because I will be going over spoilers of this movie, but I don't know. I'm gonna just start the video off by saying I really like Superman, and I'm going to go ahead and give the rating now. I would say that it's a solid 8 out of 10. I genuinely do think it's a good movie, and I'm watching a lot of reviews. If you're online in the Discord, or you're on YouTube or whatever site, and you're listening to reviews or reading people's opinions, like honestly, anybody saying that this is a bad movie, just ignore them. Like they're just. I feel like anybody saying it's a bad movie went into the movie already not liking it. And there's a lot that goes into it that I won't get into now. I might get into a separate video going into the whole history of why people aren't supposedly trying to support the Superman. But keeping it to the movie alone, I really like this movie. So just for the quick rundown of it, basically Superman is about obviously Superman and Lex Luthor. He involves himself in a plot with these two countries overseas, and he goes and he interferes in that, and that starts a lot of backlash. And because of that backlash, Lex Luthor uses that opportunity to go after Superman to get people on his side so he can do what he always wanted to do, which is take him down. So I'm listening to a lot of reviews of this movie, and I don't know, I happen to disagree with a lot of that's being said. I genuinely think that the movie is really good. I think that the acting in it is great. I don't think there's a single character acting-wise that's not stepping up to the plate. There are a few characters that aren't really utilized that much in the movie, which I personally don't have an issue with. I understand why other people feel that certain characters aren't fleshed out, but I think when you're starting a new universe where characters are already established going on, you kind of got to pick and choose. Like, there are characters already in these worlds. These people are already going about their daily lives. So not every character is going to have a backstory or 2 or 3 scenes where we flesh out and learn every motivation. I don't think every character needs that, especially when you're starting a new universe. So I personally do think that all the characters that we needed to know and care about, such as David Cornsweet as Superman, Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, Rachel Brosnahan, I think that's how you say her last name, as Lois. Like I do think like those relationships really were fleshed out very well in the movies. Another thing that I really liked about this movie was the action scenes. I really like how James Gunn decided to go really bright and colorful with the palette of this movie. So the action scenes were very clean, and I really like that. Like, I like in action movies when you can actually see what's going on, and people aren't just, it's cut after cut after cut, and the scene is all shaky cam and close up, so you don't really know what's going on. I really like how in this movie you really see Superman be Superman. I really like this movie. I think my one issue with this movie is I do think that the pacing was a little off. I do think that it's like the movie hits the ground running. So it's like as soon as the movie starts, it starts. Like, you gotta go. And it's kind of if you're not prepared for that, it's not a movie where you kind of you get eased in. So if you're not prepared for that, you might be a little it might take you a minute to catch on, but I genuinely do think that overall it's a good movie. And I keep repeating that simply because I'm reading and I'm listening to a lot of the discourse around this movie, and this is where I'm about to get into spoilers. I'm reading a lot of discourse around it, and it's like I don't understand what people necessarily really want from this movie or expected from this movie, and I think people are nitpicking the movies because it's not the movie that they would have wanted. And I'm specifically talking about these couple of points that I keep hearing about the movie, and again, this is going to get into spoilers, but again, like I said, one of the things that I really liked about this movie were the fights. But it's really confusing me, like that people are not understanding. People are complaining. They keep saying, "Oh, I don't like the fact that Superman loses every single fight, and he needs somebody to come and save him." And it's like, that's such a stupid, watered down version of what happened in every fight. It's like I don't even know if we watched the same movie. Because the very first fight he lost was to the Hammer of Baravia, which was Ultraman. Ultimately, he was pretending to be the other hero. Okay, he lost that fight, fair enough. The very next fight was he fought the Kaiju, which he would have easily beaten the Kaiju, he just didn't want to kill it. So then the Justice Gang comes in and they kill the Kaiju, and it's like, you can't say that, oh, Superman needed somebody to come in and help him, because he clearly stated multiple times, yeah, I can kill it, I just don't want to kill it, I want to keep it alive. And they came in and they killed it. So saying that, considering that as somebody coming in and helping you is crazy. He then fights, Ultraman, and I'm forgetting the lady that shapeshifts. I'm forgetting her name, but he then fights them. Like, he beats up both of them. I don't understand who comes and helps and saves him then. And then in the final fight, are you considering when Crypto bites the cameras? Is that was the turning factor of the fight? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think the discourse around this movie has been really weird. I think people are trying to nitpick it because they just, I don't know, for some reason people think that if this movie fails that they're going to get Henry Cavill back as the original Superman, which is really weird to me. But that's besides the point. I don't want to get off topic. I think I really like this movie. I think David Corenswet, I think he's a Superman that I assume everybody says Superman is. I never really cared for Superman as a character. So coming into this, I didn't understand. Like, they said, oh, like, Superman's about hope. And I'm like, what do you mean hope? Like, how do you make a character hope? How do you, I don't even understand that. But after watching this movie, I think I get it now. And what I really like about the way that David Corenswet and James Gunn, I guess, portray Superman is multiple times throughout this movie, Superman is actually saving people. Like, he's fighting the Kaiju, but instead of punching the Kaiju and throwing them through a building, no, he's punching the Kaiju and then catching him so he doesn't land on the building, so he doesn't crash into it. You know what I mean? And then he pushes him forward. You know what I mean? So, saving people's lives. There's this scene where he's flying around and he's picking people up and placing them, picking people up and placing them over here. And then there's even this stupid scene where he's picking up the squirrel and saving the squirrel from getting stepped on. He flies him over there. And it's like, that scene, it was corny, it was goofy, because, why are you saving the squirrel? But I like it. Like, a superhero actually being a superhero is a really small pet peeve of mine. But in other superhero movies, like in the other DC movies, we're supposed to believe that these superheroes are like, oh, like, people are loving these superheroes, but it's like, what did they do? Like, they didn't, like, up until, the later Marvel movies, they didn't really save the world. They were just fighting, like, their friends, like their personal villain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't really save me from anything. That was a villain out to kill you, and all you did was protect yourself, But here we have a superhero actually being a superhero, saving people's lives. I think the cinematography in this movie was really good. The scene that I keep thinking about was another scene where Superman was saving the lady in the car where the building was about to get crushed. And as she's driving away, you see him rise up over the smoke. It's another reason why I really, really liked the previous Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. Like, there were so many scenes in that movie that seemed like ripped right out of a comic book. Like, it literally looks like somebody had a comic book panel and said, we need to recreate that on the big screen. And I feel like James Gunn did this as well with Superman, where there's so many times where Superman's flying or fighting or doing something where he just feels like Superman. Like, you know, and I think to starting off the universe, starting off, you know, a new trilogy, sequel, whatever you want to call it, I think they did a great job, and I genuinely do recommend this Superman movie. And like I said, I give it an 8 out of 10. It wasn't perfect. The pacing was a little off. The comedy, not every joke hit, but I genuinely think that this movie is more than worth watching, and anybody telling you otherwise is just capping. So yeah, Superman, James Gunn, David Cornsweet, definitely go see it.